symptoms of the chemo.
Well, they do more than help us.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I didn't mention my hair, but I had high dose. It really is like 7, 8 times higher than your breast cancer.
Oh, okay.
Because they injected it in my spine and all that. And
Oh, sure.
they didn't think they were giving me the right dose, because after like the third cycle, I stoned my hair. Everybody else was like,
You were glad.
so it's one thing. So it's a gallon job. It's like $7. So that's the one thing. Another thing is these are really toxic drugs. Hey, Stan.
Hello, Jim. How you doing? Very good. Good to see you. Look it up.
And then these,
Mind it? Yes. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
I know it's
Hi, Craig.
pretty
Hey. All right.
focus fruit and dandelion in it. But they really are toxic. You go online.
Okay. Yeah.
So these are, when they do consumer reports, and they actually analyze the stuff. This stuff all came out from this company, came out to be what they said it was. And the other ones are all in the words. Half the time it's above 50%. And, Dakota, they just ship it out.
Licorice? Licorice.
Yeah.
What licorice?
Well,
Licorice root.
it's for the chemo.
Huh?
It's for the chemo.
And what's it called? Licorice root.
He's actually one of the ones that founded it. I've had him on Facebook for years. Well, I've been with Louis Bushwires for 7 years.
Are you? Okay.
Are we calling the meeting to order now? Order two? That's what the agenda says.
Well, I'm making sure it's the right time. Okay, it is.
Order, pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the first item on the agenda is public comment. Has anybody signed up for public comment at this time? You are? Okay. Robert Beltran. Please give your name and address for the record.
My name is Robert Beltran, 2814 Bregner Road, Mchenry, Illinois. And I'm glad to see that we have at least 6 people, I understand it is, that we may be considering for the township board. And it's good to know that we don't have trouble finding people willing to do this. I do worry that eventually, if the referendum that's been proposed passes, and there is no compensation for people in that office, well, actually, that's already been voted on, hasn't it? In any case, I do worry that the lack of compensation will be a disincentive to people who particularly who have other obligations, have to have childcare and so on, so that we'll have a smaller roster of potential people in the future. So I'm all in favor of appropriate compensation for people doing appropriate work for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment at this time? Okay, none being heard. Move on to new business then.
Before we get there, Craig,
I'm sorry, what?
before we get into that new
Yes.
business, can I just go over some things I put together about the time frame and everything? Of how we, from when Bill signed down through the different dates, I'm kind of wondering why we kind of got to the point where we're kind of running out of time here.
Bob, you're the one that didn't want me to call a special meeting so we could start the time clock. I did.
When did I say I didn't want to call it?
Well, we had a special meeting. You said, why did we call it a special meeting? We should have waited for the regular township meeting to accept the
That's what I said on the first one, right, yeah. But, okay, but now we've gone, we had a special meeting on July 5, that's when I said that, right? So then 15 days passed, and then you came out and said August 3 was the deadline to submit an application.
Correct.
Okay, so then we have a 60-day window to
Correct.
fill, okay? And that ends September 3, if I'm correct, or if I'm right on it.
And you're incorrect.
What date does it
It
end?
ends September 4th because September 3rd is a holiday.
Okay, September 4th then, okay.
We will be able to get all these meetings in to meet that deadline, I can tell you that.
Well, I told you I'm gonna be on vacation next week, so I'm very concerned about that.
Well, you would, that's next week. Would you be here September 4th?
I'll be here September 4th, okay.
Okay, so problem solved.
And that, what day is September fourth?
That's,
Tuesday.
that's a Monday, well,
No, it's a Tuesday.
So we're stretching this out to have it the last date?
That's, Bob, that's where I'm at because I couldn't get all the candidates here tonight to interview tonight. My option is to do it next week, but you're not gonna be here, so I'm willing to wait till September 4th, so.
Well, okay, so what was the reason why they couldn't be here tonight, is I guess my question is.
Two of the candidates, Mr. Barlow and Mr. Shepler. Mr. Barlow travels for business and he couldn't make it till next week, and Mr. Shepler is very busy with Walgreens. He couldn't make it till next week.
Well, if I could, I'm concerned about letting this go to the last minute after the holiday weekend. I'm gonna be into the 4th here. I didn't realize that was the last day. When I first thought it was the 3rd, how you gonna do it on a holiday weekend, okay? But I'm almost, I'm almost, if I get your support, or support one of the trustees, I'd like to call a special meeting and get this over this week.
We cannot do that because I cannot interview all the candidates this week. Do you want to go ahead forth without interviewing all the candidates?
Well, if we call a special meeting, they would have to make that meeting.
What, you called me and told me you couldn't make Thursday after we agreed upon that, did you not?
I didn't tell you that.
Okay, well, I was
Well, I
trying
can make
to,
a special meeting early on a Thursday, I didn't tell you that, okay?
I was trying to accommodate your schedule, Bob, and now you're getting on me for accommodating your schedule.
I don't look at it that way yet.
Well, that's the way I look at it.
Well-
I'm trying to make this work so you could be present for all the meetings.
Well, I wanna see how this evening goes. I'm in the process of thinking about calling a special meeting sometime this week. I wanna make.
I don't think that's fair to all the candidates. They should be interviewed, and it's not their fault that they can't
If-
all make tonight, okay? That's my opinion.
Okay, I just wanna make sure, I'm gonna see how this goes, okay? But my mind is set, is to call a special meeting, but to do that, I need a support either from you or one of the trustees.
Well, you're not gonna get my support, I'll tell you that right now.
Okay, well, when do I have to, what time is this meeting? I don't wanna have this meeting coming in and I miss that opportunity, that window there, so, is that still open or do I have to make that, decision now?
No, I would believe that would still be open. We could, if it's all right with everybody, I don't have, we can add, onto this agenda. Please help me out, Mr. Lawyer, how could we revise this so he can make a,
Are you looking to add on to these?
what are you looking to do? Make a motion to do what?
Looking this up, 60 ILCS 180-10B, upon the request of the township supervisor or any two board members, the township clerk shall call a meeting at the time requested and shall furnish to the board members at least 48 hours notice of the meeting.
Mhm.
So if I wanted to call a special meeting,
Mhm.
then we need a 48 window to get that posted. Am I correct?
That is correct.
So that can still be accomplished this week.
In theory, yes.
So I wanna make sure that I have the opportunity to, I'll either do it right now, make a motion, or see if I can get one of the other trustees. If you're not gonna do it, maybe the other trustees
Okay.
would support me on that. So I don't know.
How about
to
this,
proceed.
Bob? Can,
Okay.
if this is agreeable to all, can we add, this new business agenda, possible motions for meeting?
I'll agree to that.
Okay.
Mike,
Is that, Mike,
Sam,
would
would you
you
guys
do
agree to that?
Can you state that again? 'Cause
So in, there's an under new business, you have 2 points right now, A, B, and then they're looking to add a new item, C, possible motion for meetings. The only problem that I see
Okay,
is
no
that,
problem.
you're adding a new item to an agenda item, that's not on your
Oh,
agenda.
we can't do that.
So you're adding to an agenda item that's already
No,
published.
that's not posted, so we
Right.
cannot do that.
The second piece is you can still follow the statute that Bob has in front of him as far as calling a special meeting appropriate.
So we can't add that there, but I can still give, if I got a support from.
If you follow the statute procedures as far as calling a
just need
special
one-
meeting,
Yes,
then those would be the process that you would follow.
okay. So then, are you saying I should do that now and not get lost?
No, what I believe he's saying is you don't need to do that now, if you can get yourself and one other trustee, am I
Yeah,
correct?
and what I'm suggesting is this is not the time to do that because you have an agenda that's
At
already
this
been
meeting
adopted.
or at
Oh, this is not the time to do this.
Correct, you already have an agenda in place.
Okay.
And you've already adopted an agenda and published your agenda, and so you're following your agenda at this point in time. Now, if you wanna call a special meeting at a future date, you could certainly do that.
And how would I proceed to do that? Would I contact the clerk? Do I have to come with the trustee to sign that? How do I do that? Okay, I can do that, can I do that tomorrow?
You would have you and yourself, another trustee, who let the clerk know that's what you're doing.
So if we come in and tell the clerk tomorrow morning.
Or your supervisor, or the supervisor can call him.
Well, he's not going to, he said he's not going to. So it's gonna take a trustee,
It'll take.
the 2 trustees to see the clerk.
Correct.
And we do that tomorrow morning.
If that's what the trustees would choose.
If someone wants to do that. Okay, thank you.
But we can't do this at the tail end of this meeting for new business?
No, because it's not on the agenda.
You don't have new business.
But it's new, well,
It's not on the agenda.
why couldn't we add that new business, whether it's on the agenda or not?
Because it has to be posted on an agenda 48 hours ahead of time, so the electorate can know what's going to be discussed. We
But isn't
cannot.
that, we're trying to get 48 hours?
If this board is trying to adjourn this meeting and continue this meeting for another day, or if you're gonna close out this meeting and have another meeting at another date, you're gonna set a meeting aside and apart from this meeting. Correct? That's what you're looking to do, is set a meeting at another date. You're not looking to continue this.
But there's nothing in here right now that,
You don't have to do that. He just said you and one other, Bob and yourself, or Bob and another trustee can come tomorrow and say they want a special meeting. As long as it's in writing that you're both signed it. Doesn't need to be in the agenda in order to do that, to follow the statute.
Would you support a special meeting, Mike?
yes.
Okay, and I just want to, again, elaborate, we're gonna have a special meeting without being able to interview all the candidates. I just don't think that's fair. I try to accommodate your schedules, and yet you don't want to accommodate theirs. I think you need to think about that. There's no reason that we can't get this done on the 4th, and we can have a vote on the 4th. Doesn't delay anything, doesn't stop anything, all works. For some reason, you're trying to hurry the process and not interview all the candidates. I don't support that. It's not transparent.
I came in here tonight hurrying because I thought we're running out of time. I don't know why we've come up, I don't buy into you accommodate my schedule because I didn't hear from you, Bob. Have you got another time? Could you come early in the morning or anything else?
You call me on the day and tell me you can't make Thursday, Bob. You called my phone and told me that, so I assume you can't make all day Thursday. If you had an issue, why didn't you call me? You didn't.
I called you that.
You called me and told me you couldn't make it. That's what you called me. You didn't call me for anything
At
else.
our meeting here, Greg, you had 2 dates. You had a Monday and a Thursday.
Correct.
And I said Monday was good, but I have to check them both.
You did say that.
Okay. And then I came back and I told you and that Thursday was not good. You never
did
told
say
me I had to pick another date, you didn't tell me what time.
Because I talked to the candidates, they couldn't make last week, you already told me you couldn't make Thursday, so I set it for Monday. I don't see what the problem is. It's within the time period, the vote will be within the time period. That's all I'm trying to say. We're being very transparent here. The time period will be met. You'll have a vote. I don't understand the problem. All right, can we move on for now? All right, I'm going to move on. Correspondence regarding your Mchenry Township trustee position. I did not bring both the letters that I have. Matter of fact, Derek is here and can elaborate on the one letter that he sent out yesterday, I believe. And then we received a letter, I don't have verbatim, I didn't bring it with me, from Mr. Ed Hederman, the village president of Johnsburg, advocating for that they need representation from the western side of McHenry County. And he was
Township, you mean, Mchenry Township.
McHenry Township, I'm sorry, from McHenry Township, and he was recommending Gary Barlow from Johnsburg. And you all received that letter, did you not?
Yes.
I did.
You did, okay. And Mr. Severinson, as long as you're here, could you elaborate on the letter that you sent to me, making a recommendation from the Republican?
Did all the trustees receive the email?
I got it.
I did.
Okay. Mr. Severinson from the Republican Party sent out an email saying that they had many candidates that they interviewed. They whittled them down to 4. They are recommending all 4 from the Republican Party to be one of the replacement trustees. The 4 recommendations were Mark Yeager,
Gary Barlow, Neil Shepler, and John McCredo.
Those are the 4 recommendations from the Republican Party. They gave ample time for everyone to apply, and that's what they came back with as the most qualified, considering this is to be a Republican replacement.
Well, that's not the Republican Party, wasn't that the Republican precinct committee from McHenry Township?
Is that not part of the Republican Party then?
Why, but it almost sounds like it's the.
I'm sorry, the McHenry Township Central Republican Party made that recommendation, I'm sorry.
Because you said like it was a county.
I'm sorry, the county did not make the recommendation, it was made by the McHenry Township Republican Central Committee.
Thanks for correction.
I will stand corrected. All right, with that being said, we can move on to the interview of all candidates. I would make a motion that we do these interviews in open session so that they can be very transparent. The electorate has the right to hear what these candidates have to say. Can I have a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Okay, I have a first and a second. Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Adams, yes. Mr. Rakestraw?
Yes.
Mr. Wojcicki already said yes. So we have unanimous. The interviews will be held in open session. Okay, it is now past the hour of 7 o'clock. The first candidate we have is Ms. Joanne Newman. Ms. Joanne, if you come up and sit at the chair there.
The hot seat, right?
The hot seat. Okay, gentlemen, in front of you, you have all the documentation that each candidate presented to me that is here tonight. You have Ms. Newman's documentation here, her a letter, her filled out application, and a resume. So it is now time to present questions to Ms. Newman regarding her appointment.
Since you're the supervisor, why don't you start?
All right. Okay. You mind if I call you Joanne? Is that okay? Okay. Joanne, what do you see as potential issues with McHenry Township, and what you could bring to help solve those issues?
Well, I suppose the issues would be, I'm not current on all of them, but just from reading the newsletters, I know that was an issue, I don't know if it's been resolved, as far as the salt conveyor system,
Oh.
that was back in spring, that it was in the newsletter. That probably needs to be resolved. I would probably be able to bring a very calm demeanor, a non-judgmental attitude, which I think I stated on my application, and I would be very neutral about the issues and policies that are before the board. So that's the current one. And then actually, no, too, when I think about it, I would just work hard to continue this downward spiral of taxes. And I know downward spiral doesn't sound very positive, but I've been very fortunate to see my taxes go down the last 6 years, and I know part of it is probably because of the senior freeze that I get and the homestead exemption and the other exemption that I get. But I also know that without those, my taxes had gone down, and I would really like to see that continue for the taxpayers of this county. And I know Mchenry Township has been one of the first ones to bring down taxes for the last 6 years. And 2 years ago, I think it was, you guys froze, or no, not froze, brought it down by almost 10%, the tax levy.
Yes.
So I would like to continue seeing that. And I am not all informed on all the issues that are going on here, but I'm a quick learner.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from the board?
Yeah, I do, I have one. Joanne, do you know that there's a question on the ballot for the voters about consolidating the McHenry Township Road District?
Can you,
That the McHenry, are you aware that on November 6th, there's a question on the ballot to consolidate the McHenry Township Road District into the township?
I was aware of it, yes. Mhm.
Do you support that's a good question, to be on the ballot for the voters to decide that issue?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Anybody else? Joanne, have you ever held any political offices before?
I have not.
Okay. And you've been in the county since 1987?
A little bit before that,
Okay.
but permanently in my home since 1987.
Okay. I'll ask you one more question. What do you see as your strengths if you were appointed to this board?
My calm demeanor, my neutral positions. I know that all issues have two sides of every issue, and I would be very willing to listen to both sides of the issues, and again, I would just be very non-judgmental.
Okay.
Are you a lifelong Republican?
Yes. I voted for, yeah, in 1972, voted for Nixon, so I've been voting Republican since then.
Well, I'm not, if you weren't, that doesn't change anything because I voted for Jimmy Carter. So it tells you how bad it can be.
Well, I would say lifelong because I started voting at 21 and I voted that way up until the last election.
Why do you feel that you're a Republican?
Why do I feel that I'm a Republican?
Mhm.
Because I'm,
What about the Republican Party makes you want to be
well, I just
called
like,
a Republican?
well, I like their, I like their belief that government shouldn't be overly controlling in an individual's life. Limited government, low taxes, less government regulation. So I don't see that the Democratic Party does that.
So how hard would you be willing to fight for those principles?
How hard would I be willing to fight? As hard as I believe that would be necessary.
Because I think you have, when you're in office, you have to go in with a certain perspective. That's what gets you elected, a certain perspective.
Correct.
And I kind of wonder about your being in the middle, your reference about being in the middle and that, and, you know, how that plays out with your basic principles.
Okay. As far as being in the middle, it would be for Mchenry Township, because I don't know all the details about the issues right now. So I wouldn't want to say one way or the other. Okay, I don't think that that would be fair, because I don't have all the knowledge. I have a lot to learn if I was to be on the board. But as far as, as far as the Republican Party and their platform, I would stick to it. And yeah, I would fight. I mean, I would fight for
So you're a fighter
Yeah,
when you have to.
when I have to be.
Stan, any questions from you?
A wise man once told me to keep my mouth shut.
All right. I have no other questions. Does anyone else?
I'm fine.
You good?
Thank you for.
Thank you for interviewing.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Courage. Oh, that's right, yeah. You want to make, I'm sorry, can you go back for 1 second?
Sure.
I need to ask, it may be for not. Dan, do you have any questions? Because you may have a pivotal role in this.
That's a good point, because he could have a
Yes.
entire vote, that's a good point.
Yeah, good. Are you conservative or?
I am conservative, yes.
And your belief in the Republican Party is pretty strong, obviously. I voted for Nixon also. And I also voted for Carter, so. I think I just, with unexperience, and I don't wanna sound like a hypocrite, cause I walked in this with no experience at all, so that shouldn't be something against you, you know. It's a learning experience, yeah, that you'll acquire. How fast do you think that you could come up to speed on it?
Are you wanting me to say, definitely by the time the term is over, but I would think relatively quickly. I'm a quick study, and I would do the research that would need to be done to get caught up.
And how do you feel about the township?
How do I feel about it?
Yeah.
Well, it's been around for a long time, so I believe that there is a purpose for it. I know there are people that live in unincorporated areas that need the services of the township.
And the road commissioner, do you know his duties and stuff?
In general, I do.
Are
Did you want me to?
Are you, no, are you? So you're educated enough to know his duties, and if you agree to that or disagree with that? Would you say yes or no?
Oh, I would probably speak my mind.
Well, that's
I would
unusual for
speak
a
my
woman.
mind. To speak her mind. I was gonna say, you guys are kind of like light, on the women on the board, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you very much.
you're
That's all I have.
welcome.
Thank you. Down
Okay.
your skis.
All right, thanks.
Okay. Our next candidate is Mr. Steve Beer at 7:30, but if you want to come now, that would be fine.
Well, at the beginning, I'd like to say that when I talked to you, Craig, you said this would be, I asked you who was going to be present for the interviews, and you told me that it would be the board, the clerk, and the attorney.
That's what I thought was going to happen, and I decided it should be transparent and be an open session. And
But you never called me to say that your mind had changed.
I did not.
Okay.
Do you have an issue with having an interview in open session?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Especially since I was misled about the whole nature of it.
I've been informed by attorney, if we would like to go into executive session just to interview Mr. Beer, we could do so.
I say we do, as long as if you made a mistake,
Well, I told them who I thought would be present. I never said we were going necessarily to executive session.
Yes, you did.
I did? Okay.
Yes.
Well, then
We've
if
got
I
an
did-
argument, is I don't know.
Okay, if we got an
But
argument.
if that's what he was thinking, then I think we have to.
All right,
go
I
by
will-
it. If we made a mistake on that.
I will stand corrected, and I will be willing to go to executive session for Mr. Beer's interview if I misled him.
I support that.
Okay, roll call vote. Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Adams, yes. Mr. Rakestraw?
Yes.
I had assumed it was gonna be an open session. I
It-
don't remember anything being said about
it-
being.
Mr. Beer did call me, and I did indicate, he asked me who was gonna be there, and I said, I did say the trustees and the clerk. And I did not indicate it would be an open session.
I have no problem with the open session.
Could I ask a question? Are you adverse to being in open session or?
Yes.
Okay. Then my vote stays the same.
Okay, and I will stand by my mistake. If I made that, I'm willing to go to executive session, so. Do we have a roll call vote? Anderson, yes.
I said yes.
Adams, yes. Rakestraw, yes. And Wojcicki said no. Okay, we have to move out of this room, go around the room.
Can
Please
we-
stay here, I will be back.
Can we go to the next person being interviewed and then go to closed?
I don't know if they're here, because they were told it was 7, 8 o'clock.
I don't think we can do
You
that.
can't do that.
I can't do
I
that,
don't
no.
see how we can do it.
Okay, so. Let me get this. Yes. I will.
Well, you know, if he is, I'll check with him, but, yeah.
Yeah, I talked to him, I saw him on Saturday. So
Okay, yeah, and I'm like, that's not normal.
So this is Paul, and then I come back, I return call?
Yes, and then you called me back and you didn't know you called me.
Oh, I pocket called
You
you.
called,
I think he's
called
gonna
me
be
for
working
about
Saturday.
5 minutes, and I was like,
He did
yelling,
3 jobs.
he says, oh, I'm hanging up. He's like,
I saw the link of the call, I'm like, what the heck is that? I was like,
Mhm.
so, you-
yeah, I was
was that
just,
being recorded?
no, I didn't do it.
Oh, good, because they wouldn't have heard all that rotten stuff my wife said about you.
Oh, so you talking about me again? What?
What is this floor? This is a tremendous floor.
Yeah.
What is
it's nice?
Is it a glue down? It's not laminate.
It might be. I don't think it's, genuine.
No, it's not wood, but it's
No.
100% glue down. I would love a floor like this in my house.
We need something, water on it. though.
That's what this was.
Oh, that was? Okay.
See if it tries to stick here. So go ahead.
Yeah, I think I'm okay. Water.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do one more floor.
So I left the funeral over here, and now there's another one going on.
he was on the board, and he was on the school board before that. Gary Barlow. Yeah, he was a council during the last term, and he was on the school board. But he was not. Other ones is the party leader.
How are you? I'm so happy that you're running. That's a great thing.
Well, you're volunteering.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize it until you said that.
But can you believe what the end said?
Oh, I know.
For a woman, I'm like, something like that, yeah.
I told me to go already.
Oh my gosh. He said,
No, but that's what he said, because I'm not up here.
it's true, it's true. Yeah, yep. There was someone, I think Sue Draftco was with us. That would have been.
Yeah, there was
Mike.
Oh, really?
Okay, if that should have been an official thing, that at the office here, they should have said it.
Bob?
Here.
I don't think they can. I don't think they can.
I don't think, and then, I mean.
But I was checking, up until the deadline, I was checking, you know, to make sure that nobody had applied here, that hadn't applied there. But our deadline was early, because we had to go.
Because I actually, I mean, I had all the
I didn't hear about you until I read it.
So our deadline.
I'm on Cal Skeeter's.
Yes, you are, Mike.
Oh my gosh, Cal Skeeter. He's an amazing, interesting.
Right?
We just,
That's the first I heard. He doesn't.
Yeah, so I mean, I think I brought
and
my information.
Okay.
I wasn't sure.
Yep.
board is going to,
Yep.
Fair to them. Looking then for watching me something else.
They do. This is a better, I think this,
all of these.
I think I had all the committee minutes for as much better.
To
Precinct.
No business.
your business.
I don't know.
To this
You know,
one.
like a drop, I got every neighbor's.
There was a discussion. I felt that we were sure that we should come up with a recommendation. And that it was too much like, well,
I haven't been like,
what you want was to say, is that everyone's in there. We're all, no, we're not interested.
I sat down as the,
And my argument was
so now Eric is the
that
vice chairman.
if
Okay.
we felt that all these candidates are equal, which I agree, Michael,
At the county level too, I was the vice chairman.
then there should be no problem with this.
And then I stepped down for Chuck Wheeler, and one Chuck.
That kind of fell to the wayside.
It is. And, you know, these county board positions and,
I don't want to see
you know,
it lost.
going to battle against that was,
So 1, 2, 3, or 4.
that was meetings 3 times a week, you know. Compared to someone resigning from the county board,
But
we're
at
gonna
the same
name,
time,
like how we name the replacement for a trustee, because it's the same thing for county board.
I mean, I
Same thing
honestly
for
didn't care.
all these positions, it's
I
like,
concur.
and basically we're getting going anyway. We're putting tons of time and effort and everything.
But I did feel that.
You know, we're all gonna get right, they should do what we want.
So there's a whole meeting progress. That's why I understand what 6 candidates.
Trustees.
For the call for the special representative, or do you think that any of the 6 is fine?
I mean, that's Oh, I don't. I don't. It's like, there's a statement that they had in the newsletter that said, you owe no one anything, and you have control of your life. And it's like, I don't know anybody, anything, you know?
Right,
It's
right.
like, I am free.
Yeah,
You
right,
know,
you're off the
that's making
radar,
no
no one's
motion.
loyal to anybody, you're off the radar, you are like a neutral party, in a true sense.
Yeah,
Especially some of those who ran as Democrats in the past.
this township stuff, it's
Yeah,
hard.
that's what we should have
It is, by definition, you know, they must name, if it was a Republican, they must be more
But
Republican.
as far as the issues are, I mean, it's just.
Oh, yes.
Taxpayers.
Absolutely.
You know, it's just-
They are partisan, right?
You know, so, I don't know, but, yeah, it's,
We have too many of these applicants, either their spouse is an employee, or they are employed, or they are on contract, who is selling products to, you know, they're all financially involved. And then you are not, that's what's a project right here. You got no interest in steering things one way or the other financially, personally, you have no interest. It seems like everyone else does.
that's so bad.
It is. It's not, it's not a business scam or it's cronyism where your employer is not where you are a contractor for the town. We can't end it. And I'm not saying that any of these people are corrupt, but the perspective from the public, that
Stand down the elimination of the district.
looks right, whether it is or not. And I sure won't cast aspersions on any of these people, because obviously they are steering the business in a direction and profiting. Because I don't have any evidence to say that.
that. should.
No, I'm not, I'm saying no.
He's not.
What, well, don't be, none of the candidates are.
I
No,
like
there's
the
potential.
potential.
What do you mean?
Compromising.
I don't know, what potential is there?
If you were a contractor who got ordinances with highway,
So
with
who's
the road
the, who's
commissioner,
the
Fair compromise.
among the candidates?
there's one candidate who
I'm
that's his
not
business.
so sure where I stand
Out of his traffic
on
area,
this,
he does work with
this
with
body
So who's that?
Arcadia.
hiring.
Okay, so you think that because he does that,
I
he's
don't see why
disqualified from serving
that
the
individual
township?
could
I
not.
would say that there's
Conflicts of interest?
And
No, it's always
be
possible for a
appointed
person
to the
to
board
withdraw
and work.
from any issue
Absolutely.
where there could
I think we
be
can-
considered to be a conflict of
Like if
interest.
you're on a school board,
I
you write
think
a law.
determining
I think
that person has
because
no
of
right
these
to
things,
serve
legislation,
in
I have
office
talked with,
because they have
you know,
a business
Pamela.
that could contract, you can very easily say, due to potential conflict of interest, I will not be voting on this yet.
This matter.
On this issue.
Which would
Right.
want to abstain.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's very commonly done, I don't see why that's any problem.
I'm not quite sure whether I agree that it's commonly done. I don't, again, I'm not as informed as I would be, if they feel, allow me to fill the vacancy, but I follow statewide and nationally, and there's a lot of conflict of interest, and there are a lot of people benefiting from the political positions that they hold. And so you can't say that that just doesn't.
I would never say that Mark.
In competition for dollars.
He's one of those outstanding guys I know. But the perspective of someone else might fix their own.
But I think it's
The
also.
propriety or it's the appearance.
Because he doesn't know but maybe has a significant amount of
On the
knowledge.
township,
That's what you're mandated.
not the kind of people who are going to be doing that advanced service. Because I just don't think so. I mean, number one, it would get out of hand. And that would not be good for them. That would not be good for their reputation, for their business reputation, for their personal
I
reputation.
hear what you're saying, but there is an element of media that really does not support that. I don't get the Northwest Coalition number, I don't even know if this is because
They are.
they are because of.
We read the Northwest
Well, I was surprised because of the letters. And they really, they used to be like 300 words long, now you can't write them that long. It's a
Were any of these guys qualified? Were any of these guys qualified?
It's not necessarily that he lost, it's that he was second highest vote.
Correct.
So he was almost the highest number of votes for supervisor. So you can turn that same argument.
So I'm like, who's on their board?
He got more votes
Making those decisions too.
than basically most of the trustees did.
I think they're trying to,
What I like, what I
make
think
sure
is
that
qualified of
a
any
wide
of these guys,
variety
they
of
don't
people
know.
are able to
These
express
fucking all this meeting, they don't even
through
know
their
anything.
letters to
They
the
don't know what,
that
They have
one
no-
time in 30 should be enough
they weren't
for
qualified
most
to be
people
on the
to
bill.
bring up.
What?
They don't know nothing, and they don't wanna go and find out
Issues are
about
not
it.
that simple. Issues are not that simple to be resolved or written about.
They, Adam called them.
Trust me,
not-
I don't read everything on
There's
that
not, I
meeting.
mean, if
Worse,
people
rigor.
respond to your
It's
letter,
terrible.
you should have the opportunity to let them read what they are saying. So it's not simple. Why not?
In the comments.
And I don't have, our technology at home.
You're going to,
I
Because they won't hear it, because they won't hear
as a town board person, you're going to.
Yes, of course, I would vote for that, definitely,
Timeline on it?
because you'll be in touch
So
with
they,
everything. I just don't want to.
it didn't say it had to be a certain date, so since it had to be a certain date, they still have to go against what the doctor said.
Now you're
Still shaking my mind.
You're gonna be.
But chances are,
And you're
Oh,
gonna.
what is it?
they're not, the accounts, they're not.
That's what I tried to bring up at
That's
the town meeting.
although,
I mean, once they got that,
Couldn't amend it.
once they got
they need a woman on the board, they don't have a woman, so, but I mean, it's interesting talking to,
Their constituents
I like to
might,
learn, know too.
their constituents
You
include
know,
most
I
of the
just
people
know,
who show up to meetings.
we live
Because there's very few ones who actually have to show up first.
yeah, but the people who did show up should have their
There were so
voice
many things
as
wrong with
they
that.
voted on this mistake.
basically, because anybody could,
I'm a whole lot older.
even though I don't come, I'm the president of subdivision.
Aren't we all? I didn't know anyone was younger.
We've done,
Although some of us get older.
scheduled for all our meetings are.
No, I don't, I don't show up like that anymore. You get closer and stupider.
Then they wanna know what's going on, then come to the meeting.
Yeah.
What if
I'm
those
talking
things are,
about-
what if some people might say that we, I like that, it's getting older and stupid.
I mean, you're here attending meetings, that's a good thing. That's a very good thing.
I mean, we sent out 300 bills. We have our annual meeting on Friday.
Oh, of course,
So
we
give
do.
us 25 feet.
There's some
25
secret
to
there.
30 people.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there's 16 of them.
Exactly. I mean, it's basically, it's the one last stronghold
And if they're
that
concerned, I think that's the money they should get.
in Illinois.
You know, the people say, oh, I got
Yeah,
so much.
Experience.
That you would be,
That you can pick on.
since we're living in a Republican and direct democracy, it comes with elected people who we think we can trust to make those decisions. And in a direct democracy, we should be making every decision constantly.
I'm not saying that, right? We have our annual meeting like that, and most annual meetings, if those people don't say, we gotta do this,
Hard to even get.
and we don't do it, that ain't right, you gotta do
It's
this.
nice to be convinced.
We're not serving ourselves, because we're on the.
Or not,
That's the way you gotta look at it. That's the way it should be
this
looked at.
one topic.
for a very buffer.
I'm sure they know. It's
I go with the approach.
I pointed the legislation last off, it's like Jack France was taking all the equipment, added
Still don't know.
One of the key
and
points that they
it wasn't saying, what do you
I go
think?
to the,
Really wanna
I
find
go,
out.
I go to the school board meeting too.
What meeting?
Get off.
Who's in the consolidation until I saw the legislation? Now I'm like, well,
I learned a lot of, you know, things about the 5 day limit, 14 day limit, a lot of them, they have an excess and
We gotta start accumulating.
Well, you're expecting.
when you start,
I'm in
like what you're
favor
supposed to do, and you're still not.
this study that he wants to get done. Exactly. You know, that's just not necessarily.
I believe it, or you would then.
Because we don't have,
And I keep telling you, you're trying to cut out that sound. How many you want to count out, you want, everybody's so bad. The money, you come in there to try to stop a couple of houses, I can't, but I'm, more than half.
That's the way it's always.
Nobody wants to run for school.
I know, I don't.
Oh, you would, if there was a primary.
That's what we should do. We gotta get the candidates. There's people, no, everyone's afraid.
Put it together, nobody,
Everybody got in because
proposed
they're.
it in a timely fashion, and I think we have.
People, all they do is complain.
Steve first. Oh, wow.
Or volunteer to do it. They want, our subdivision says, we want to know.
To run for board and then to actually follow.
Yeah. We want to know what's happening.
And then you get a special vote, then a special meeting, there's a rules meeting, the night before Thanksgiving, and we made this, rule that we would wait vote, and as a result, there was no way that anybody but selected few could have shown up there. as it was already agreed.
And it's coming up so quick.
And that's not a democratic process.
It's only a
And that's what you have to know that. You have to know that what's going on.
I didn't think it was this time, I don't,
It was dead on, it was exactly that. They couldn't go more honest.
so it's a lot easier to.
They learned.
It's only
If you get the precinct committee, then you get to a caucus. If you do a caucus and a vote, you're gonna need a vote, and that's the point.
I remember
Then,
being in that point in my life where it was hard to have a so I understand that, you know.
And we don't have no.
because they sort of have a lifelong gray area. When someone goes to this, and then it's supposed to be Republican, Democrat, Independent, or Independent was on the bottom. Otherwise, none of these guys live now.
Can't you think about,
I think Kirk,
And then, that's
always in John's first school. Okay. Because when he was
at the meeting where well, that's how these sports, the meetings where they set the rules. That you lost that,
it really is.
you know, I wonder what's in nonviolent offense.
I don't want to claim
The research
Well, you should ask them.
is not in the favor of having
If they deny it,
whatever. Whatever. As a,
some
I mean, I'm
When
also.
we were talking about it on the anti-safety, that's when the morning that was gonna be.
It's not a terrible thing, so I don't think.
Kirk wanted to ask me that I knew when Trump was going to go see the Pope about what. So there's going to be that kind of question.
And
I knew before he was really, various things, and you know, and I'll tell you, so I'm like, I don't know if it's a sure thing, but I don't know. Well, let me just commend this, that all the good roads are around, and you guys are totally probably, I know it's like being in Oklahoma City. The worst, and now there's the best. Because they know worse than the city. Now they're in the city.
Which they. Ignore the annual meetings.
Listen to the rest. And then there was the thing, she called back out,
we have different opinions.
I've heard that before. But, you know, guys, this isn't, and it's gonna take away from everything. If it costs $30 million,
Getting all the
it's
stuff,
gonna cost
carrying all of this.
$15 million to maintain. It's gonna be
He said something.
and it's gonna be
Just took charge.
10 years. That's okay.
Not a whole lot, but it's not really my or we are meeting with private focus of 2 hours.
I agree.
I don't know.
I was against that in my old town.
I struggle. It's gonna be several. The next time. It's really tough. I don't know how to play all that.
But getting back to that,
Planning for the.
but it's a bit.
I didn't realize it until like a week and a half before.
That would be a competition. Because it's never under budget and it's always over budget especially when you know the budget that thing that you got over stuff from.
But maybe then like 40 people, and most people, we're just showing up to say everything in the middle. Had no idea who it is.
It's a lot of little cats.
Showing up because they're Republican and it was a Republican thing. So it was good.
I think it should be a
Audio conversation.
at the very least. At the very least.
And then there was a big difference there.
I had no problem with, somebody slapping their name on Facebook or there it is. Slapping their name and getting some kudos for it, no problem.
Birthday.
Oh my gosh, they were putting in the draft, they're getting.
For what?
I told you that last meeting.
You gotta vote the way you feel. You gotta vote the way you feel.
This is we're gonna please, in my opinion, by city, like, we realize all those other people, and then a lot of them paying attention. And now they wanna build something to license it, because of that, and putting it on my and they haven't done what they're supposed to do. Are they gonna use that thing? And the situation. Are they gonna pay my property tax or increase the plus, whatever it should be, because that's the way it should be. They should all be paying $200. Whatever it costs, because as it is, of course, is then you probably that's it's still a lot. But getting back to what that's gonna make it more. Those are the hours that we should be looking at. Just the other side. City services that are essential services. You know, when I went to the waterfront, I came here to see. I'm because of my disability right now. But I did join, you know. So I'm not a win.
They got done with Concord Bridge. Yeah, I was glad.
6 months.
But then they were going to do Thursday, and they were going to do that. You can't go between something one and this up. Well, yeah, I don't listen to it, but I figure, I think before, when they normally go, they're not driving over. Instead of being earlier, that all can be taken.
So the taxpayers do it, you guys got it going. It's done. Because if it's a non-boundary, then you have a choice.
So I don't know what that was about, but it's like, I just want to interesting stories about it. Did you see the video that open? Or closed?
personal reasons, because they don't.
Otherwise I'll leave.
Yeah,
No staying around, right?
No, that's, I think the whole thing,
And that's the problem, because my profession could jump.
I got one and my thing is that Pittsburgh is the key, and it's looking for, it's exactly, it's over. You can talk about this referendum, doing this referendum, and it's like, we're toast. They're just gonna use
And their process of from the water.
We're not on that bar.
Yeah, see, I'm
let me get this soapbox.
Hi, I'm Mark.
Hi, Mark, I'm Joanne Newman.
Nice to meet you, Joanne.
Nice to meet you,
I'm
too.
Mark Yeager.
Hi.
Hi, Bob.
I'm on Judy Cox.
Nice to meet you.
I am Jim Condon, I'm the Harbor Commissioner,
Hey, Jim, how are you? Nice to meet you.
temporarily.
Scott, how are you?
I'm doing just fine. How you doing?
Good, thank you.
Good seeing you.
Seeing you.
They told you they're in executive session.
Yeah, Steve.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Yeah.
I heard this was at 6:45, and I thought I'd be brief and report this at 7:05. I didn't know there was tiered candidates at half an hour each.
I just thought the meeting was at 7, so that's why I came 5 minutes to 7. I was still late. I was like, what?
It was posted for 6:45 because they wanted to leave enough time for each of the candidates, I think. So, it is usually 7.
Yeah.
So is this the hot seat?
That's where you have, that's the seat where they interrogate you. They have a flashlight in your face.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Right.
The law requires that they open it as an open meeting, but then they
The Domino's was never dedicated. The Domino's positive, that's what was going on.
So, never a dull moment.
I have a Diana.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, you do.
What am I missing? I missed this last Thursday's meeting.
because they
Right,
can close the
yeah.
meeting for certain purposes. And one of those purposes is interviewing candidates.
I can't talk to you right now.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a number of things that are going on. And, I was speaking up for you in your, behalf, in absence, and, saying that, you know, because I want more members on that board.
Yeah. I hear you.
We only have 4 of them. And we need a 5th. And, I told them that I talked to you, and you said, oh, you had some things.
I had time in my life for it. I hate to say it.
Oh, okay, well.
So I was like, no, I'm going to Florida again. I'll be around during the election
Oh,
time.
yeah.
I don't know if I can, it would be fair.
Sorry, we're out of money, we can't go make a patch.
Not gonna do that.
Let's run out the money the county gave us.
I think my heart's obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
You are teasing me, I hope.
Yes.
I'll be on the front line.
Even though there's no money left.
He tells me I have
Machine gun
yours,
squad.
so, and I don't get it.
So it's kind of, I hate to say that I'm gonna be in the front lines and then be
Yeah.
AWOL and not be there.
Understood, understood.
Because that would be fair.
Yeah.
People who are not in the front lines.
Right.
Have a front line guy just disappear. And that's gonna be, that's unfortunately, I'm out for 2 weeks.
Well, that's, if it's not, it's not really gonna work, but if it's in October, then that's a question. If they're gonna be back for September, October, and November, that's fine. But it can,
He's got a
that's Thursday. Yeah, are you gonna go to that or not?
I can't.
Okay.
I just found out that I'm going to Florida on Wednesday.
What's wrong? Is there something going on?
No, the guy closed on what, 4 months.
Oh my God.
So we're closing and I got a contract.
What are you gonna do? You're gonna rehab it?
I don't believe we do a turn down, trying to keep people.
This time, we're making $1,500 a month.
You can always get better at it, and that's what
We'll
we
make like $1,500. That's the $20,000. So we took the proceeds of the structure, we sold it, paid off the mortgage, left with a small chunk. We were able to buy 4 cheap properties with that small chunk, $25,000 property.
Really?
Each property for the short town.
And that's why I'm an English major and an M&A. Nope. The
Or nothing.
office manager.
Or one
So
other.
the tax of less than $5,000 for 4.
Right, right,
And then the $1,500 where I'm mowing the grass into about $4,500 where I'm paying for the
Right, exactly. And then that won't take long to mushroom that into something really good.
Right, so in the meantime, I just gotta go down there, meet the painters, meet the tree guys, meet the roofers, and the roof on
What about the neighborhoods? Are the neighborhoods?
Great.
Neighbors are good?
Yeah. One of them.
If you find it out, you can always call and
Pretty big.
One
of them's
Wow. Yeah, I'm called neighbors. Yeah.
No, not neighbors, it's in Tampa, north of Tampa, Clearwater.
Okay.
I'm not sure I wrote that.
Really?
I already have some kind of, but I only got
I get the one.
It's a pleasure of writing that.
It's got a pier, it's got 2 cranes to pick up boats with. Big infrastructure. Like concrete pad and stuff.
So all you gotta do, are you putting a house on it? Okay, yeah, right, yeah. So it won't be long before you'll be cruising out there, I'm
Right,
sure.
right, and by Christmas time, identified this lot. By the time we had the offer, there was nothing under 50. We had our, right north. Scope everything else, and then all of a sudden something come on the 50, and it's gone immediately. Already, the price for a lot is 50. Like, find out a lot of close. Now there's nothing available for 70.
Yeah, now it's getting normal.
Now that we're getting into the fall and the winter season, we're gonna be hungry for flowers.
Yeah, because people are gonna be scrambling,
Leaving here.
here, looking for, yeah.
So it's like with a quick window there. But now I gotta get down there and put it all in place. And I'm gonna hire a guy to go there and
And there might be other things probably that will come up between now. Then it may be, I mean, you can't foresee it now, but
interview kind of.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
2 weeks of,
Yeah, nothing like that goes that quickly. Because if you do that quick, you know what happens. Right, yeah. Even if you do it, take a long time to do it.
Make sure we got a good maintenance guy down there, make sure we got a good, manager down there. Hire a saw, get people in place. That's what I'm doing the rest of this. And then we'll come back here and, hopefully for a year we will touch it. In the meantime, we can,
Well, are you hiring a property manager? Okay, a good property manager?
I don't know, it's hard to say.
Hard to say.
They're expensive.
It's a good one, yeah. I mean, because you want them to go in there and look around and make sure that, you know,
Nothing with the schools, though.
they're not manufacturing crap, you know, and they're not. Right, I mean, there's, you know, just because people have money doesn't mean they're good.
Right. Because they're very lucrative.
Right, yeah. We met once before.
Yeah, I
Where was that shop? Oh, yeah.
did some walking.
I didn't know it was gonna, I thought this was like 6:45 till 7:45.
I fell and,
I didn't know it was 2 years of interviews.
no, well, I broke my ankle and I shaved my,
I don't have time, I gotta go there.
Watch it on YouTube. How about your son?
session at, I have 7:54. May I have a motion to do so, gentlemen?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, motion by Mr. Rakestraw, second.
Second.
Mr. Anderson, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, our next viewer is Mark Yeager. Mark, if you come up and.
Hello. Hi. How's everybody tonight?
Fine,
Good.
over here anyway.
Good.
Okay, gentlemen, you have Mark's application in your packet. Anyone feel free to start a question with Mark.
How long have you been on McHenry School Board?
I was elected in the last election.
Okay, so you're pretty new there.
Very new.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And a precinct committeeman?
I was a precinct committeeman for one term.
Okay.
Mark, let me ask you, what do you see as the problems that townships have, and what do you think you could bring to this board to help solve those problems?
Communication, I think, is the top problem, listening, and I am a good listener, and I feel that I would be very fair to the taxpayer, to the board, and to the township. So I think listening is the most important thing.
Okay.
So you're not coming here with any kind of preconceived agenda or anything?
No.
You got an open mind?
No agenda whatsoever.
Okay. And what was your motivation to go on the school board and precinct committee?
Precinct committeeman was when I wanted to get involved. So we had moved into our house and were there for a couple of years, and nobody had ever come knocking on our door. So I decided to run for precinct committeeman, and got to meet a lot of really good people through that. I was at the Republican caucus here in Mchenry Township, and I was I was the number 5 vote getter for trustee at that position at that point.
That was at the VFW?
At the VFW, yes.
Yeah. That was before the Queen of Hearts thing.
Yes, yes it was.
You can't get in there now.
Yes, it was. So I was the number 5 vote getter. I was not on the banner.
Okay.
So I was the number 5 vote getter for trustee position. And at that point, I was approached by other people from the Republican Party and asked if I was interested in doing something other than the trustee position, because I was not selected. I was not the top 4. I was number 5. So that's when I was asked to consider running for the school board. So I researched that and decided that I would give it a try and see if I could make any kind of a difference on the Board of Ed.
Okay.
Where I met terrific people, and once again, communication. That's the key there. Listening to people and trying to understand where they're coming from. Because I might have an opinion on something over here, and somebody has an opinion on something over here, and there's a compromise in the middle. But there's going to be no compromise if you can't listen to each other.
Right. Yeah. Thank you.
A couple questions about
Sure.
the school board.
Yeah.
What is your communication level with the majority of the board? How is that working?
There's no negativity. So there's no animosity between myself and any of the other board members. Is that your question?
Well, my question, I guess, is do you feel a little bit pressed when you know that a majority of the board probably is voting for things that you don't agree with. Let's say that.
No, I'll speak my opinion. I'm not intimidated by anything like that.
What is your responsibility on the board?
I am on the Buildings and Grounds Committee, so, my responsibility is to, listen to the, requests, for lack of better words, from the, maintenance and the transportation people, and listen to what they are requesting.
How about when you're in session with the whole board?
Mm-hmm.
What is your responsibility?
To listen to what is being presented to us and listen to think if it's a good deal for the taxpayers or not.
Are you do you direct your superintendent? Does your board, is that your responsibility to direct your superintendent to do certain things? Or is it basically the superintendent tells you what he wants to do and you just approve it?
No, we question what the superintendent wants.
Okay, now, if you were on this board,
Mm-hmm.
and basically you were to say yes for all expenditures, and that's pretty much what direction you have as a board member. Would you want more responsibility or less?
I don't think I understand the question.
Okay. We as board members, pretty much, that's our job, is to pay the bills.
Right, to approve the budgets. I have read the township handbook on trustees' responsibilities.
So the referendum that we're trying to get through basically says we want to try to put more responsibility on the board and get a consensus of 5 people rather than a consensus of 1 person. Would you be against or for that?
I would have to look at it. I have not been privileged to the information. I've not been privileged to what the plan is. So I don't know without seeing what the actual facts are. I can't answer the question because I don't know what is being presented. I don't know what you're asking of me, and I can't give you a yes or no without knowing what the facts are.
I got a basic question.
Yeah.
Do you support the question we put on the ballot last February that allows the voters, do you trust the voters to take an issue on consolidating the township road district into the township?
Do I trust the voters? Yeah, I trust the voters.
So you think, you're happy that's on the ballot?
I haven't seen the whole plan for what it is, so I can't answer
It's
the
not
question.
a plan, it's a question.
I've not seen the full question then. If the question is, and excuse me if I'm stepping over the boundaries, if the question is, do I support the board making the decisions for the highway department? Is that the question? No.
The board made a decision for the voters because a law came into place, signed by the governor a year ago this month, excuse me, and it became law when he signed it, and then it became effective in January. So in February, this board voted to place this question on the ballot to give the voters the opportunity to abolish the road district and have that function go over to the township, where the township board will oversee the road district operation. So my question is, was that a good decision of the board, and you think you trust the voters to make the decision in November 6th?
Do I trust the voters?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I trust the voters.
So you would support different things that would come in. If you're on this board, you sat here, and things came up that would come about, and the law said you could do certain things, would you support legislation that allow the boards to make decisions on township government?
If it's in the best interest of the taxpayer and the township and the board, then I would say yes.
And how would you clarify that?
By listening to what all the facts are.
Well, sometimes, you know, for instance, when you ran for the school board, and when people run for office, the people don't know all the facts about you as a person. Sometimes all the facts can't come out. Sometimes you have to just kind of trust the situation and say, wait a minute, things need to be changed. Let's move forward. Somebody went through a process, a very difficult process, to put through a law, fight the system, and it gets to a board, and the board has the opportunity to make a vote to get this out to the voters. That's what my position is. There's a lot of people that don't want that to leave the board to go out to the voters.
If it's for the best interest of the township and the best interest of the voter, then I would be for it.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not in the best interest of the township and not in the best interest of the taxpayer, then I would not be for it.
So and that would come out of what your opinion was on the situation.
Yes, I can't, I'm sorry, but what I'm saying is, without knowing all the facts, I can't make a honest, good faith decision.
Well, sometimes it's not time to get all the facts out. Sometimes when the law comes, okay, and this was a good law. It was 607 is a great fight in this room and why we put it on the ballot. There's people in here who talk about it all the time. The road commissioner's out there, he's railed against us all the time, okay? But House Bill 607 had support of 84% or 87% of the Senate, 67% of the House. The governor signed it in bill. So if that came to you, so if you knew those facts, okay, which I knew, okay, and so I promoted that. Would you sit here and promote that, let the people decide on that after it went through that process?
Once I
evaluate, and then let the voters decide whether it's a good deal or not. Okay, let them get the facts. Let the referendum go through. Let the people go on campaign and make that decision. That's why my question is: would you trust the voters to make a decision?
I would trust the voters to make a decision. Yes, but in order for me to make any kind of a call on something, I would need to know all the facts.
Okay,
and I think I answered your question, but I might not.
I guess you answered, but probably not the answer I was looking for. But that's okay.
I'm honest. I'm not gonna.
No, it's okay. I want you to be. Yeah. How about? Do you think schools should be consolidated?
All schools?
Well, let's look. I'm on the school board, District 36. So you're on the school board, District 15. Would you be supportive of a unit district that would take in District 36, 15, and 156?
If it made financial sense to the voter or to the taxpayer, then absolutely I would be in favor of it.
Would you be supportive of going through the process to get that out to look into it and promote it and get it started? Would you support that? As a school
so what you're asking me is
if
it was suggested, would I go out and start campaigning for it?
No. As a school board member, would you, if I came to you from, say, as a school member from District 36, and say, Mark, would you really support on your school board, or for you to look into it and move forward to see how we can work this out?
If it made financial sense to the taxpayer, absolutely.
Yeah, you would. Is your board president supportive of that?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh.
That conversation's never come up.
Did you vote for her?
No.
You did?
No.
You made a good vote. Because I met her and I talked to her about this issue. I'm surprised that you got something like that as a school board president over there. But,
yeah, that was.
But I got away from the township situation.
I can tell you who I voted for if you want to know.
No, that's not germane to this.
Okay, so
let's bring it back to township questions.
Township, yeah. Well, that's all I got. The reason I brought it back, Greg, was that you bring it up all the time too, and we hear it all the time here too, that consolidation and working to change township government also looks into other governments, and he happens to be a school board member, and that's why I got into that though, because you got similar thoughts there though. If I'm going to make a decision, people, I want to know if they got thoughts, if they're willing to look forward and change the system.
I understand what you're saying.
Thanks.
Can I say something though, Bob?
Sure.
If we were considering consolidating a school or a school district, you would want to know a plan of what's going to happen. You'd wanna know what's going to happen to, if we were closing a school, you'd wanna know where those students were going. Everybody would need to know what the transportation would be affected by that. How much money are we saving? What's gonna happen to that old building? There's a lot of things involved that have to be looked into, not just saying, let's consolidate this. There's a lot that has to be looked into for the school district.
But I'm looking for people that are willing to look into support to get things moving, not say we can't change it, not come up with excuses that we can't make any changes.
I didn't say we couldn't, I just said
That's
we would
my
want to
question.
at least have a plan in a school district. The taxpayer would want to know, where are these kids going to go? Where are the teachers going to go? Are they just going to get fired? Are they going to be moved into other schools? What about the busing? What about the building? So there's a lot to consider.
I understand that.
Before I could say yes or no, I support it. It depends on if there's any kind of a financial reward to the taxpayer.
And somehow, I guess I'm not clarifying myself. I'm just looking for somebody that's an elected official, support the idea to look in to get something moving that will create school consolidation. We have 7,000 governments, Mark, I'm sure you're aware of that. There's 2,000 more. Somewhere, somehow, I'm looking for people that are sitting in the board, sitting next year, that's willing to look, how do we move forward to downsize all those governments?
Okay?
Okay, so that's where I'm trying to get across here. But, just thank you.
I assume that's the reason why you ran for the school board, was to
Yes,
try to help.
to try and help the taxpayer. Absolutely. That's whose interest I'm in favor of, is the taxpayer.
Okay, had your group of people that were running won a majority of that board, do you think that you would be trying to implement changes at the school?
There would absolutely be some changes at the school. There already have been some changes. We just had a transportation bill, or our transportation contract go through where we're actually seeing a little bit of the savings by attrition and by losing some routes and by not having as many buses.
So, what I'm trying to get at here is that if you had a majority on the school board, you would probably be doing some of the same things that we're trying to do here at the township. Would that be correct?
That I don't know, because I'm not privileged to what exactly is going on. I don't understand what's going on exactly. I just see what goes on in the open meetings.
Okay. There's one thing in your application.
Yes.
That does give me a pause for concern.
Okay.
And that is that you sell equipment to townships.
I do sell, yes, I am a sign manufacturer, and a lot of townships do buy things from me.
So I have to be honest with you,
That's
a
fine.
little bit of a concern
That's
about.
fine. Mchenry Township with Leon never bought much, and Jim very seldom buys anything. What we have is one product. It's called a delineator post that we're the lowest in the state on, and that's one of the products they buy from me. And it's a minimal amount.
You do realize if you were appointed as a trustee, you would not be able to sell them?
Yes,
That's correct, you
Yes.
could not be able to by law, right?
yes, I realize that.
And that wouldn't be an issue, right?
That would not be an
Yeah,
issue.
sure.
It's a minimal amount.
You'd have to sign off on that.
That would not be a problem.
So one last thing for me, and that is that this proposal about putting this thing on the ballot is about giving a consensus view on how money is spent with the township road district. Now, my question would be, if you were going to go on trial, would you rather have a judge rule on you and what you do, or would you rather have a jury?
Oh, wow. I haven't thought I was going on trial.
No, we're not, I'm not putting you on trial, I'm just asking a question. Would you rather take your chances with 12 people or one person?
I would imagine I'd rather take a chance with a jury if I did something wrong that put me in a court.
If you have a retirement fund that you fund, would you rather have a fund that is run by one person, or perhaps 5 or 10 people giving their consensus views?
I'm more of a mutual fund person than an independent stock person.
Okay, so what we were trying to do here as a board is to take decision-making and get a consensus of 5 people, which I think is far superior than one person making that decision. All you have to do is look at Algonquin and see what that can happen.
You're talking about the road commission.
The road commissioner.
You didn't mention, that's the position.
We're not trying to degrade the road district at all. As a matter of fact, I think we're trying to improve it if we can, but we're trying to make it less expensive if we can, and we want to have a general consensus of 5 people. And I think it's a no-brainer.
So that is to run the district, run the road district.
Right.
So, and here's my dumb question, because I can come up with dumb questions. At 2 in the morning, when the sheriff calls and says the roads are slick, is it a consensus of 5 to get the roads salted? Or is it a consensus, is it the one person who's responsible?
We hire a superintendent like you do.
Somebody to oversee the roads.
Okay.
So you have somebody responsible for that.
Yes.
Instead
So
of not
it's
being
his
an elected position,
responsibility.
it'd be an appointed position. So
Okay.
the board is not gonna be, would be responsible for putting the executive in that position.
So the board would be responsible for approving the budget?
Oh, yeah, let's say, yes.
Correct.
And the board's responsible for approving the budget at this point?
No, we pay the bills. Pay for it.
No, that's not true.
The
You
board
are
is
responsible for approving the road district budget.
But you do have, once the money gets over, you do, oh, we're getting off of your.
We're getting off the track
Yeah,
here.
we're
We're
off the
interviewing
track
this
here.
candidate.
No, I'm just trying to understand the
We're off the
question.
track here.
I'm just trying to understand the
The
question.
question should be of your resume.
So I hope that clarifies what we're trying to do.
So yes, I would imagine that, with listening and communication, the board could understand what the needs of the road district are and create a reasonable budget without costing deaths, because these roads are life and death. If something terrible, if the roads are not salted, people can die. That's, to me, that's a major deal. It's road, traffic safety.
Okay, board, are there any more questions of Mark at this time?
I do.
Yes.
Okay, Dan.
You're obvious, you have to be Republican, have you been Republican all your life?
Yes, I have.
So you didn't vote for Carter?
No, I was in the Marine Corps at the time. I voted for Reagan my first time I was able to vote.
Okay, another thing, a very important thing to me is integrity.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these questions are designed that almost leads you to answer them in a certain direction. Are you strong enough at this point that if somebody asks you something that you know is gonna be against their ideals and stuff, that you would have integrity to say, no, I'm not for that?
I believe I would. Absolutely. I would listen to what the issue is and weigh it against the good of the taxpayer, and the good of the township, and the good of the board.
Okay, and how well do you think that you could agree and sync with not agree, because I don't want any one of the single board members to agree with everybody, that would kind of throw democracy out the door. But how well do you think that you could, I guess, work with the
Okay,
board?
I think I understand your question. By listening, my stand is here, and another person's stand is here. By listening, there is a compromise somewhere.
Usually.
There is a deal to be made. And our president is proving that throughout the world, and I think I can follow in that. I think I can listen to what people are asking and compromise.
Okay, I have no further questions.
I just one thing, I'm a Marine too, so simplify.
Hoorah.
Go Army.
Any other questions, then, gentlemen? Okay, now you heard, Mark, thank you very much for taking the time out to interview and apply for the position. It's not an easy thing to do, and I appreciate your coming forward and applying.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, gentlemen, at this time, the only last thing on our meeting is adjournment.
I'll make that motion to adjourn this meeting.
Okay.
Public comment?
Oh, I'm sorry, there is, I didn't have it on here, I'm sorry, Bob.
It's not on there.
I didn't put it on here on this one, it's my fault. But
8:20.
it'll be on the next one for sure, okay? Adjournment, Mr. Anderson has applied for adjournment at motion for adjournment at 8:20. May I have a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Stan Wojcicki. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None being heard, meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Since it's not public comment, I'm still gonna say it anyway. That is, if you're gonna hold a special meeting that cuts off the other candidates arbitrarily and capriciously, I think that they would really have a good position to file a complaint.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch it. What was it?
To hold a special meeting
Yeah, I know.
that cuts off the other candidates who wanted to be interviewed, it would be very arbitrary and capricious to do so.
I have one comment on that. If I was running for this position and I was not actually on the agenda for this, I would be here.
That's not fair. People have other commitments and we try to work out schedules.
I understand that, but I think it's an important thing.
Especially when the reason for the special meeting was because of somebody else having a commitment that he didn't want to violate. So, and especially after one of the candidates deviated from the format to have a private interview, which we don't know what happened in there.
Why they go there? And I didn't go for lunch, but on Thursday, I get there and it's here. I was looking across the
It's found that I had that.
Thank you for the consideration.
Okay, thank you.
Mike, thank you for your consideration.
Can we move the meeting?
I heard you. Can I help move that?
Thank you.
We were already planning.
Appreciate that. And keep it up with the school board. Trying. I was on the board too.
I was asking you whether you were a Trump supporter.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, why I asked is because you go there so deep
Yeah, they
in the
were.
making, and I'm like, isn't that what his book said? Yeah, I sure hope you are a conservative. Because sometimes people just say,
Back to the
Right. That makes sense, yeah.
I just don't think it's official. But he's got a special rule. I know that. But it's not,
Thanks for the consideration.
It's up to five. You have a right to marine, it's up to five. It's not something you read and never leaves it, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it's
You too.
Chuck.
Good night. See you tomorrow.
But, either way, when you have, if you have to be, for the general public.
But we were trying to avoid using public equipment spaces. For us. That's not what we're looking for. Next meeting is trying to find something that's not publicly funded, that's not. Yeah, but they're publicly funded. It's something we're wanting to avoid.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, that's, as long as it's there, it's a good use of it, okay?
We're trying to avoid taxpayer funds. We're working on that, trying to do that.
So,
This week is a lot better than the other. Anytime. Except for tomorrow. I've got a board meeting tomorrow. Okay, so I'm gonna, tomorrow afternoon, I'm gonna be dealing with board stuff. But anytime, Thursday, Friday, Wednesday.
didn't say anything to Chuck or something like that.
I've got, could be stolen back there. Can I? I was talking to Chuck.
Would have been better if you had come to the party also, so we could have interviewed there also.
Like you would agree.
I didn't even know.
You would be able
qualified
which is
candidates
coming
that came to
up
the party.
next month. So if you did it now, you've got to plan in effect.
Well, yeah, but all of the candidates who came, who went through the process,
You could
qualified,
immediately change it,
who
knew
knew how to do the job.
because everybody could move there. But that's once a year, okay? So you can always change October 1, which is a.
What time do you get here tomorrow?
For January, I misspoke.
They meet the legal
Change
requirement.
January. You stuck in there. You put for 4 months.
I don't understand what's the point. If we had set up
Not till the third. What happens
I couldn't find anywhere in the law where it says that they
or the
law,
fourth?
hey, you guys can't sleep at night.
they can't, I mean, what if they don't come this time?
You're talking to the wrong guy. After that slip and fall,
It should have been done. It should have been done. This last month,
Yeah, but originally, it was either gonna be Monday or
It sucks getting old, I'm sorry.
2 days. And
Yeah, exactly, yeah, they definitely wasted all together. You know, I never thought it
why they
would
weren't
work.
on you.
1 minute, I should have one way, and then the next minute, for the rest of my life,
Should have been.
That's 3 months ago, that's when this all.
But he laid it out. I don't know why.
Mine was, 5 months.
different days, because 6 people in a half-hour region has been,
You
look at this.
could have done it in probably 10, 15 minutes. You don't need a half an hour.
It requires disclosure.
You have to have a
What do you do when you got 6 people here, you got 4?
Oh, it did help me too. I did not where
Asking questions.
my, it was.
And some of them weren't very
Right
great.
here, right there.
So,
And it was like, somebody
I
took my knife.
think if we'd had 6 people here, we'd have
All
still
day
been
long.
here for a couple hours.
And
That's bad.
himself on it.
Something's going down.
Does not
here.
specifically
My
prohibit
knee
him.
is really
So
sore.
Whatever
legally
meeting
it's
is
I'll
on.
try
Great.
and work on my leg and that, but,
it does require
Because the interview didn't start
disclosure.
until,
And he did.
he started the meeting quarter to, the dinner was not starting
They
until,
stretch you, don't
and they
they?
put it on the shoulders and a thing in your belt.
Mm-hmm.
so I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, they
But
stretch
anyway, we
you.
may be here, I don't know.
This is the rat.
The rat.
Actually, yeah, we sold quite a few concealed carry classes, and we sold the sign to it pretty well.
I'll try and get with you tomorrow.
Just give me a holler tomorrow, anytime.
And
I'm just
we've
like
had a bunch
tomorrow.
of
Or, I
people
mean,
come in.
when in talk to secretary,
Yeah, or you can call me tomorrow, we can put a
I
pencil.
think it's
You
over
would call
today.
you got one, I didn't know there was a meeting.